Tell me about yourself.
Well, my name is Frank Ferri. I was born in Edinburgh but brought up in Leith, Ballantyne Road, which is opposite the old State Cinema. You know where the old State Cinema is? The old Leith Hospital in Taylor Gardens. I was brought up in Ballantyne Road. I was born in 1935, so that makes me how old?
Don't have a clue.
76. I'm not quite as old as the dinosaurs. I'm getting there.
Tell me about your earliest memory and your family.
My earliest memories, well, I remember attending St Mary's Star Sea School, which used to be in Henderson Street. Prior to it being Henderson Street, the school used to be sited within the grounds of St Mary's Church, and the building is still there before we were here. And I remember the Blitz of April 7th, 1941, and a big bomb fell on the town hall in Largo Place, just up Ferry Road, and it blew all the windows out of my house, and I was sitting next to the fire reading my comic, and I literally blown out my chair and into the lobby, and all the roof and ceiling was coming down, china plates smashed all over the place, and we rushed all downstairs to go to the shelters, and it was pitch black because you were not allowed to have any lights on outside the house in case you warned the German pilots where you were. So you had to make your way down the stairs and across a yard, a big yard, into a shelter which was under the ground, and wooden bunk beds. And we sat there all night, shivering in the cold, and the aircraft above chasing the German aircraft and bullets flying. And in the morning, it was about 9 o'clock in the morning before we got to the shelters again, a big siren used to go off to let you know it was all clear and safe to come home. And we came home, we had to clear all this mess. We had no windows for months and months and months. And they put yellow canvas up in front of the windows to keep the wind and the rain out. That's one of the many traumatic memories I remember. There's many more.
What was St Mary's like when you were a little boy?
Well, St Mary's, there was no new technology like we remember nowadays. For the first year, I would say at least, you didn't get pens or pencils. There was no such thing as a biro pen hadn't been invented yet. They had a slate, which is about that size. You know the kind of slates that are on a roof? Well, it had a slate with a little wooden board around it. And the pencil that you got, it was made of the same material. And that's what you done your writing on. And sometimes you had a wee tin with a damp sponge in it to clean it. If not, you used your elbows. You went home after a while and you hose your elbows. Your mum was not amused with that sort of thing. You used to have 2 or 3 nuns that tutored the pupils in these days. And not like the nuns you see nowadays, or like the ones you see in the old pictures with the big black hooded cape and the white around their face and the rosary beads. And they should teach you the 3 R's and teach about the faith. I remember every Wednesday morning before school started, you're marched down from St Mary's Star School down to St Mary's Star Sea for a mass service, and you came back and you started your class lessons. I remember getting free milk. You got a third of a pint bottle of milk every day. And I remember in these days, why I don't know, but if it rained at a certain time after playtime, say at 10:30, you got half day. And if it was a wee bit heavy, so we used to look out the class window saying, oh, it's raining, hope it's heavy enough, so we got a half day. And that's about all I can remember. Playtime was just like we play nowadays in the school. There was not a lot of food in these days because during the war there was rationing. You couldn't get a lot of food stuff. but you got subsidised or assisted meals at school, usually with soup, minced potatoes, and a big chunk of cheese, and a big heel of bread, a big chunk of bread. It was very good, wholesome stuff.
Did you pick to work in the Navy?
My father was in the Merchant Navy at the time, and he was on the big passenger liners. You've all heard of the old Queen Mary and the Queen Elizabeth, the big passenger ships. My father was working on the Queen Mary and Mauritania, and used to run between Southampton and New York. Now, when I was a child, you saw these movies, and you saw America and New York, and compared to what we had back here, it was very, very glamorous, and the kids all had wonderful toys that we didn't have. They had the sweets, and the food, the candy. And my father used to tell me about the film stars he met on these big passenger ships. And he told me about the tropical places that had been all over the world, lagoons and warm climates. So I thought, well, that sounds jolly good to me. So I went to Leith Nautical College, and they had a training ship in the docks where Ocean Terminal is now, called the Dolphin. And we went to the Dolphin, and you were taught knowledge about the sea, seamanship. You were given normal educational things like arithmetic and English, and points to the compass. One thing I had to do was to be able to swim. Now, I was 16 and I couldn't even swim at that age. And no matter how good you were academically, if you couldn't swim, you were not allowed to qualify. So you used to take you along to Victoria Baths in Junction Street, and we'd see all the swimmers who could swim stand at this side, and all the swimmers who can't swim at this side. And we'd see right non-swimmers who wanted to bend over the swimming pool and adopt a diving position and bend forward. And you'd done that. And the head tutor school. And they kicked you in. You had to learn the hard way. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. Within 4 weeks, I could swim very, very well indeed. And when I was in the Merchant Navy, I saw many, many places. I was on a passenger liner that used to go through the Mediterranean, covering all the ports on the southern coast of the Mediterranean, through the Suez Canal, all the way down the east coast of Africa, to Durban, Cape Town, Port Elizabeth, Las Palmas. I spent a year on the American coast, all over New York, New Orleans, Montreal, Newfoundland, Nova Scotia. I went to Cuba, the Dominican Republic, Texas. I spent many occasions in Portugal, France, and Holland, and had a wonderful time. It was a great life. But it all came to a sudden end because I stayed ashore too long. Now, in these days, if you were in the Merchant Navy, you were exempt from national service. Now, national service was a 2-year spell that everybody had to spend in the army. But if you stayed in the Merchant Navy, you were okay. You didn't get called up for the army. If you stayed along for any longer than 3 months, you got called up. So I mistimed my leave, and I got called up for the army. And I spent 2 years in the army, national service, learning to be a soldier.
How does Leith compare to other places you have been?
Well, you can't really compare it too much with all the other foreign places I've been. All I can say about Leith is Leith has a very, very strong identity. First of all, can I say that Leith has a history that goes back 800 years. That's officially recorded. And if you come from, there's no other place in the city, in Edinburgh I can think of, that has this kind of identity that you belong to somewhere. I must add, you must ask your teacher if you can get hold of a marvellous book. It's called Russell's History of Leith. It starts the story about Leith round about 1200 years ago, up to about the 1920s. And it tells you a lot of the injustices that happened to Leith over the years, and to my mind still happens to this day. Do you know, in these days when merchant ships landed at Leith and they discharged their cargo, the merchants and traders in Leith were not allowed to purchase that cargo until it gone all the way up to the city of Edinburgh. Then the people of Edinburgh, city of Edinburgh, put a tax on it and sold it back to the people of Leith. Now, how unfair was that? Now, this book tells you all about these kind of things, the kind of houses the people lived in, the kind of food they ate. There's only 2 copies of the book left in the Edinburgh libraries. I applied to get one. One's in a pretty bad condition, the other one's pretty much complete. And the reason I asked for it is I've got a copy in the house but I had some pages missing. If you can get a hold of that book, it's really marvellous. But to get back to your question, how does Leith compare with Glasgow? Most places, Glasgow have got a great identity, but Leith was a borough of its own up until 1927, totally separate from Edinburgh. It had its own corporation, it had its own transport system, it had tramcars long before Edinburgh had it. But in 1927, they agreed to amalgamate with the city of Edinburgh. But people in Leith never ever forgot this. They always say they are Leithers. In fact, I remember when I was graduating from Leith Nautical College, the captain of the training ship says to us, lads, you're going to be travelling all over the world and people are going to ask you, where do you come from? Now you'll probably react and say, oh, out of Edinburgh, because you'll think people don't know where Leith is. But she's never ever say I come from Edinburgh. Always say you come from Leith, no matter which part of the world you're in. And that's the difference between people who come from Leith and any other part of the city. There's a feeling of identity.
What do you think has changed in Leith in your opinion, and are they good or bad changes?
There are some good changes, there are some bad changes. The good changes are that people have a lot better housing than they had in my time. When I was growing up in Leith, you had large families, 5, 6, 7, 8 more people living in a house that had one living room. That's where you ate, you washed, and had a place a wee bit off the living room where there was a bed. We had 1.5 bedrooms. There was no bath. Your toilet was outside. Some people shared their toilet with a neighbour next door. And if you wanted a bath, you had a big zinc bath, a big metal bath. And you pulled it out and took lots of kettles of hot water to fill this up to have a bath. There was no hot water in the house. Well, there was to a certain extent, but you had coal fires these days. No electric fires or radiators, or gas fires or radiators. It was a coal fire. At the back of the coal fire was a cast iron metal tank that held about 1.5 gallons of water. And if you happened to have coal, which was very scarce and expensive, you could heat the hot water, but you didn't have hot water all the time. If you wanted a real good bath, you had to go along to Victoria swing baths in Junction Place and have a swim and a shower. Or if you just wanted a bath, they had cubicles, they were called the plunge, and you went along there and they gave a wee bar of soap. And you went along there and you got maybe 15 to 20 minutes for a few pence and had a bath. So from that point of view, things have grossly improved. As regards employment, there is no employment to talk of in Leith as there used to be. Because in Leith, up to the 1950s, you had very busy docks. There's hundreds of ships coming to the docks every day. And needed hundreds, if not thousands, of dockers, men who loaded and unloaded ships to do this. Then you had other industries like cooperages, people who made barrels. You had the granary, who processed grain. You had people who made wine and whiskey. You had engineering works. There was thousands of people. And people all went home for lunch in these days. And at 1 o'clock, sorry, 12 o'clock, all the sirens in the works used to go off, you know, wee, wee, screeching noise, and let me know it's time to break for lunch. And it was like one big football match coming out. You walk down the Kirkgate, which was the big Kirkgate, where Leith walked down the shopping centres. And all the people coming out of their works to go home for their lunch. The same was at tea time at 5 o'clock. Thousands of people all converging on Junction Street and Leith Walk and the Ferry Road coming home from work. In these days, the Kirkgate stretches from the foot of Leith Walk all the way down to where these multi-storey flats are now. But there was houses on either side, there was dozens and dozens of shops on either side. The shopping in Leith was far different in these days. There was no supermarkets. Now you all know you can go to a supermarket nowadays and you can buy anything you want, whether it be sweets, vegetables, butcher meats, you name it, clothes, you can buy all in one shop. But in these days, there was individual shops. You had shoe shops, furniture shops, clothes shops, butchers, bakers. You had a shop for every kind of product you wanted to buy. And you didn't have to go south of Pilrig to buy anything. You didn't have to go up to Prince Street to buy fancy. You could buy all that in Leith, because the whole length of Junction Street was lovely shops. And do you know that park in Junction Street near where Leith Hospital used to be? It's got a big tower, a big clock in it. Just in Junction Street, there's a building with a big clock in it in Junction Street. That used to be the Leith Cooperative Society. And that was a department store, not quite within a class of genders. It was a classy store. You could buy furniture in there, shoes, underwear, suits. Women could buy dresses. There was a chemist. You could buy anything there. And the complete length of Junction Street was shops on the other side. You go along Duke Street was the same. You went down the Kirkgate, all the same, and you got down the bottom of the Kirkgate, where the police station is, Charlotte Street. There was Tollbooth Wine. There was big stores there. So you didn't have to travel anywhere, but you went out and bought your food daily in these days, because nobody had refrigerators. So if you didn't buy your food daily and fresh, it shouldn't go off, especially in the summertime, like milk and butter and raw meat. So nobody had refrigerators, so you had to buy your food every day. There was a variety of shops. And the entertainment, you had 5 cinemas in Leith at one time. You had the Alhambra on the corner of Springfield Street. You had the Capitol in Gordon Street, which is still there by Bingo Hall. You had the Palace, which is at the foot of Leith Walk, on the corner of Duke Street. You had the Laurie Street, which is just behind where old Woolworths used to be. You had the State Cinema at Junction Bridge, so you had a choice of 5 cinemas. And people who like dancing could go dancing, and there was plenty of dancing. And behind, or next to the State Cinema, was a big stadium where you go watch wrestling every Monday or Tuesday night, people wrestling. So we had plenty of choice of entertainment.
Is there anything you would like to tell me about the people of Leith?
Well, the people, we've really covered that, because the people of Leith do have a separate identity, and even to this day, people help one another. If you're in need, you've always got neighbours. That sums up the people of Leith. It really covers the subject for you, Leith, and belonging to Leith.
Can you tell me one word that sums up Leith?
Well, I've actually got 4, so you can take your pick. It could mean belonging, identity, spirit, or the Leith motto, perseverance. Persevere. Okay, either one of these 4 sums up Leith. What sums up Leith is persevere, the motto of Leith.